The moment I opened the bedroom door, I knew my life would never look the same again. I did not scream. I did not cry. I did not even move. I just stood there, frozen, as if time had stopped. My breath caught in my throat. My heart was beating so loudly. It was the only sound I could hear. There, they were, Daniel and Lila. My husband. And my sister. Lying there. Caught in something I was never meant to see. Her hand on his chest. His lips near her neck. The bed I had slept in for years, now a stranger to me. My name is Hannah. I'm 34 years old. I live in a small town in North Carolina. I teach first grade. I love sunflowers, rainy days, and baking banana bread on quiet Sundays. For most of my life, I believed in good things, trust, love, family. I believed if you gave love, you would receive it back. I met Daniel when I was 24. We were both volunteers at a community event. He made me laugh, even when I didn't feel like laughing. We married 2 years later. We weren't perfect, but we were close. We talked about everything. Or so I thought. Lila is 2 years younger than me. Growing up, she was always louder, bolder, more full of fire. I was the calm one. The one who listened. The one who cleaned up after everyone else. I loved her. Even when she was reckless. Even when she made bad choices. I loved her more than she probably knew. When our mom passed away suddenly, an accident, no warning, Lila came back home, completely broken. She didn't know where else to go. So I said, "Stay with us. Just for a little while." She moved in with Daniel and me. That little while turned into weeks. Then months. Then almost a year. At first, it felt good. Like family. We cooked together. Watched movies. She'd sit on the porch with me in the evenings, sipping tea and telling me she missed Mom. But slowly, things began to feel different. Daniel started laughing more at her jokes than at mine. Lila began brushing her hair before he came home, even if she'd been in pajamas all day. Sometimes I walked into the room, and they'd go quiet, like I had interrupted something. But I told myself it was nothing. Because I trusted them. I really, truly did. And maybe I didn't want to see what was right in front of me. At first, it was little things. Tiny moments that didn't feel important at the time. The kind of things you brush away because you don't want them to mean anything. Like the way Daniel would laugh just a little too loudly at Lila's jokes. Not the polite kind of laugh. The real one, where his eyes crinkled and he leaned back in his chair. I had seen that laugh before, when we first met, when he was falling in love with me. And Lila, she started brushing her hair every evening before Daniel got home. Even if we were just watching TV in old sweatpants, she would still fix her lipstick and smooth down her hair in the hallway mirror. I noticed. Of course I noticed. But I told myself it was nothing. Because I trusted them. I really did. They were the two people I loved most in the world. The two people I believed would never hurt me. One warm evening, Lila and I sat on the front porch together. The sun had just gone down. The air was thick with summer heat, and we could hear crickets singing in the garden. It was peaceful in a way that made your heart slow down. She had a glass of wine in her hand, and I was holding a cup of tea. She looked at me and asked, "You ever think you married too young?" Her voice was soft. Almost too soft. Like she wasn't sure she wanted an answer. I smiled a little, confused. "No," I said. "I think I married the right person." Lila looked away and gave a small nod. But her smile didn't feel real. It stopped before it reached her eyes. That smile, it stayed with me. Later that night, when I was in bed, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Why did she ask me that? Why did her face look so sad? I tried to forget it. I turned off the light. I closed my eyes. But something in my chest felt tight. Like a hand was slowly closing around my heart. Maybe I should have known then. Maybe a part of me did know. But I pushed the thought away again and again, because I wasn't ready to believe it. Sometimes, when you love people too much, you stop seeing the truth, even when it's right in front of you. It was a Sunday. A quiet day, a peaceful day. We had just come home from church. I remember the sun was shining through the kitchen window. Birds were singing outside. Everything felt calm. Daniel took off his shoes by the door. He rubbed his forehead and said, "I have a headache. I'm going to lie down." I nodded. "Okay. Lunch will be ready soon." Lila was holding her phone. She looked up and smiled, but it didn't feel like a real smile. "I think I'll take a quick shower," she said, already walking toward the stairs. I didn't think anything of it. Not then. In the kitchen, I put 2 slices of bread on the pan and watched the butter melt slowly. The smell of tomato soup filled the room. It was warm. Safe. Familiar. I remembered we still had clothes in the basket upstairs. I wanted to finish folding them before lunch, so I wiped my hands on a towel and walked up quietly. The hallway felt still. Too still. I reached the bedroom door. It was half closed. That was strange. We never closed our door during the day. I paused. Everything in the house was quiet, so quiet I could hear the sound of my own breathing. Then, I pushed the door open. And my whole world broke. There they were. Daniel and Lila. My husband. My sister. His hands were on her bare skin. Her lips were on his neck. They didn't hear me at first. I just stood there, frozen. My heart felt like it stopped. My legs felt like they were filled with water. Heavy. Weak. I thought maybe I was dreaming. Maybe my eyes were lying. But it was real. They saw me. Daniel sat up fast, his face pale and full of panic. Like a child caught doing something wrong. Lila grabbed the sheet and pulled it around her. Her voice was small. "Hannah, I didn't mean." I didn't let her finish. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just turned around and walked out. My feet moved, but my soul stayed there, shattered on the bedroom floor. I didn't cry right away. I couldn't. It was like my body forgot how. I walked down the stairs slowly, like I was underwater. Everything felt heavy. My legs, my chest, even the air. The smell of grilled cheese and tomato soup still filled the kitchen, like nothing had happened. Like the world was still okay. But it wasn't. I walked to the stove and turned the burner off. The soup had started to bubble too much. The bread was burning at the edges. I didn't care. I just stood there in the quiet kitchen. My hands were shaking, but I didn't look at them. I kept my eyes on the fridge. On the little magnets we had collected over the years. One was shaped like a seashell. It said Charleston in soft blue letters. We got it on our honeymoon, 5 years ago. I remember that trip. Daniel held my hand everywhere we went. We laughed at silly jokes and took pictures by the water. I thought he was my forever. I reached out and touched the magnet with one finger. My hand was cold. My heart even colder. I didn't hear him come down the stairs. But then he spoke. "I'm sorry," Daniel said. His voice was low, rough. It wasn't supposed to happen. I don't even know how. I looked at the magnet. I didn't look at him. "Where's Lila?" I asked. He paused. "She left. She was crying. She didn't want to face you." I turned slowly and looked at him for the first time. "Neither do you," I said. And I meant it. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I lay in the bed, our bed, no, my bed now, curled up on one side like a child. The blanket felt too big, too empty. The pillow beside me was untouched. Cold. Every part of my body hurt. Not like a sickness, but like my heart was too heavy to carry. It felt like a cold, hard stone was sitting in my chest. I couldn't move it. I couldn't breathe around it. I kept hearing Lila's voice in my mind. Soft and sad. I remembered the night she cried on my shoulder, telling me she felt alone. She used to say, "You're so lucky to have someone like Daniel." I believed she was happy for me. I thought she looked up to our love. I didn't know, she wanted it for herself. That hurt the most. I didn't tell anyone for many weeks. Not even Kara, my best friend since college. She always knew when something was wrong. But this time I smiled too well. I hid it too deeply. Every morning, I got dressed for work. I stood in front of the mirror and told myself, "You can do this." Then I walked into my classroom and smiled for my students. "Good morning," I would say, like everything was fine. At home, I baked muffins. I cleaned the living room. I folded the laundry. I did all the little things that made life look normal. I even lit a candle at night, like I used to when Daniel was still there. But inside, I was breaking. It felt like there was a crack in my chest. Small at first. Then bigger. Then impossible to ignore. One night, I went to put away the laundry. My hands touched something soft, Daniel's blue shirt. The one with tiny white buttons. The one he wore on our anniversary. I held it to my face. I could still smell him on it. And then the tears came. All at once. Like a storm I couldn't stop. I dropped to the floor and cried until my throat hurt. Until my hands trembled. Until I couldn't breathe. I think that was the night my healing began. Not because the pain stopped, but because I finally let it in. Because sometimes, to heal, we first have to break. Kara was the first person I told. She came to my house one afternoon. The sun was soft outside, and we sat at the small kitchen table with warm tea in our hands. I looked at her, my voice shaking. I caught Daniel with Lila. She stopped. Her eyes grew wide. She didn't say anything for a moment. Wait, she whispered. Your sister, Lila? I nodded slowly. My throat felt tight. Oh, Hannah, oh my God, she said softly, her voice full of sadness. She reached out and took my hand in hers. I didn't hold back. The tears came slowly at first, then faster. I cried like I hadn't cried in a long time. Kara didn't try to fix anything. She didn't say, "It's going to be okay," or "You'll get through this." She just stayed quiet. And sometimes, that quiet is the kindest thing someone can give. A week later, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Lila. I'm sorry. I can't forgive myself, but I hope someday you might. I never wanted to hurt you. I stared at the words for a long, long time. My heart felt heavy and confused. I wanted to say something, anything, but my fingers stayed still. The silence between us was louder than any reply. I didn't answer. I wasn't ready. Daniel moved out a few weeks after it happened. At first, he stayed with a friend. Then, slowly, he found a small apartment across town. He didn't take much, just some clothes, his books, and a few things from his office. We didn't talk often. Only when we had to. Bills. The house. Paperwork. Simple things, said in short messages. But one evening, he sent me a text. Can we talk? Just once. Please. I waited for a day before replying. Then I said yes. We met at a small cafe, the same one we used to visit when we were dating. Back then, it was full of laughter, coffee cups, and soft smiles. Now, it felt quieter. Sadder. He looked different. Older. Like he hadn't been sleeping much. His eyes looked tired, his hands fidgeted with the mug. I know I ruined everything, he said, voice low. And I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. He looked at me then. His eyes were red and watery. But I still love you, he whispered. And I'm sorry every single day for what I did. I didn't say anything right away. I just looked at him. Really looked. This was the same man who once brought me flowers after my miscarriage. The same man who held me all night when Mom died. The same man who used to make silly faces just to see me laugh. But now, he was also the man who betrayed me. Who slept with my sister. Two versions of him sat in front of me. And I didn't know which one to hold on to. I wish I could tell you there was a clear answer. A moment when everything made sense. But healing doesn't work like that. It came slowly, like the sun rising after a long, cold night. One morning, I opened my eyes and noticed something different. My chest didn't feel so heavy. My breath didn't feel so tight. And I realized I didn't hate him anymore. I still didn't trust him. I didn't want him back. But the anger, the fire inside me, it was softer now. Smaller. I think that's what forgiveness means. It doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean what they did was okay. It just means you choose to stop carrying the pain. You choose peace instead of poison. And that choice, though quiet, is full of power. Months slowly passed, like leaves falling in autumn, one by one. Lila moved away to another state. She never said goodbye. We haven't spoken since, and maybe that's for the best. Daniel and I signed the divorce papers. It was quiet. No fighting, no yelling. Just quiet sadness. A soft ending to a long, painful chapter. Healing didn't come with one big moment. It came in small, quiet ways. In making a cup of coffee and not crying. In folding a shirt without thinking of him. In sleeping through the night and waking up without pain in my chest. Slowly, gently. I was learning how to breathe again. Now, 1 year later, I can say, I'm okay. Not perfect. Not fully healed. But I can breathe again. I can smile without forcing it. I spend time in my garden. I plant flowers and watch them grow, slow, quiet, strong. On Saturdays, I help at a local shelter. I talk to people. I listen to their stories. Somehow, helping them helps me too. I started writing poetry again. Soft words. Honest words. Sometimes, I still think about Daniel and Lila. But not with pain. Not with hate. Just distance, like people from a story I finished long ago. And sometimes, I hear Daniel's voice in my mind, whispering what he once said. I never stopped loving you. I just stopped deserving you. It still hurts, but it no longer breaks me. Thank you for listening to my story. If you liked my story, please like, comment, and share. More simple and emotional stories are coming soon. And before you go, tell me in the comments, where are you listening from?